Hello, welcome to ANN News.
My name is Olivia Nguyen.
And my name is Brian Garcia.
Today we will also have Christina as one of our co-hosts.
The topic that we will be discussing today is the American Revolution.
Recently we have been receiving reports on the Sons of Liberty.
Who are they anyway?
Well, Brian, the Sons of Liberty are an organization that has been influential in organizing effective resistance movement against British rule in the colonies.
Didn't they also organize the Boston Tea Party as well?
Absolutely!
This was a huge turning point for all of the revolution. It showed colonies' resistance towards Britain.
Exactly.
In addition to the Sons of Liberty, Thomas Paine's book, Common Sense, also challenged the authority of British rule. We have Mayar on the scene with Thomas Paine to talk about his book.
Hello, I'm Mayar, and I'm here today with Thomas Paine. Do you want to have a talk outside?
Sure.
So why did you compose the pamphlet Common Sense?
Well, my original thinking was I wanted to challenge the British rule and the monarchy. Through the power of literature, I wanted to advocate independence from Great Britain and show that their injustice to its people.
Thank you so much for this interview. The Common Sense was also the first work to openly ask for independence from Britain. It was originally published anonymously, and it played an important role in uniting American citizens and political leaders under the idea of American independence. It is also considered one of the most important publications in American history.
Go. Thank you so much, Mayar. Let's take it back to the committees of correspondence.
So it was one of the first provincial governments that was formed in November of 1772 in Boston.
Why is that important?
So it says here that the committees of correspondence was used to deal with important issues between the colonies and Britain. This is very important because without the committee, there would have been so much mishap between the two parties.
That's good to know. Let us take it to Christina's corner where she will talk about the Second Continental Congress.
Well, the Second Continental Congress convened in Philadelphia during the summer of 1775. They were the ones who selected George Washington to become the commander of the Continental Army.
Do you have anything else to add?
Yes, the Congress established itself as a central governing authority under the Articles of Confederation until 1788.
Next up on ANN News, we have a short clip about the Olive Branch petition.
In the days following the Battle of Bunker Hill, even as Congress begins to provide for a continental army, the delegates make one last attempt at reconciliation with Britain. They send the king what they call the Olive Branch petition, respectfully requesting that he grant the North American colonies autonomy within the British Empire. Like all communication that crosses the Atlantic, it will take months for an answer. And General George Washington can't afford to wait to build his army. He alone holds the keys to liberty or to death.
John Dixon had drafted this petition and it was taken by the Second Continental Congress. So what else has happened after this event?
Almost a year later, the Declaration of Independence was adopted. But before that, the Virginia delegate Richard Henry Lee introduced a motion calling for the colony's independence before the Continental Congress at the Pennsylvania State House. However, Congress postponed the vote on Lee's resolution.
What happened after that?
After that, the delegates appointed a 5-man committee, which consisted of Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Roger Sherman, Benjamin Franklin, and Robert Livingston, to draft a formal statement that justified the break with Britain. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration was adopted.
Thanks, Christina.
This was not the end of the war. There were still many bloody battles that were fought on American soil.
For instance, the Battle of Saratoga was one of the many turning points for American independence. We will turn to Mayar for more details.
Thanks, Olivia. So this battle occurred on the 17th of October, 1777. The British and German troops were fighting against the Americans. Despite the American victory, 215 soldiers died and 300 wounded. They captured 5,800 British and German soldiers. The American victory helped induce the French to recognize U.S. independence and to give open military assistance.
Also, the word Saratoga is shorthanded for two battles that had the coup de grace in 1777 British invasion from Canada during the American Revolutionary War.
The Saratoga battle was a great victory for the Americans. Christina, was there any other great battles?
The Battle of Yorktown occurred from September 28 to October 19, 1781 in the colony of Virginia. The British grew weak in America because they needed to send troops in the West Indies and Mediterranean due to the Spanish and French. General Cornwallis marched his troops into Virginia and seized Yorktown. He decided to stay in Yorktown as he expected British General Clinton to sail from New York with a British relieving force. However, he did not expect his arrival to come soon, so General Cornwallis marched out of Yorktown and surrendered to Washington.
Honestly, these battles do not deserve to be won by the colonial army.
What do you mean?
Look at the facts. It just doesn't make sense. They went against the best empire in the entire world, and they were unskilled and outnumbered.
The American army knew the terrain and had the support of the French army.
The British army had all the resources and all the willpower to take down tiny America.
But they were unfamiliar with the area. They were led into a trap.
No. When it comes down to it, the Americans were lucky to win the war.
I believe that they deserved to win the war. It was not luck, it was skill.
Hold on. I'm getting news that the Treaty of Paris is going on right now.
We have breaking news on the Treaty of Paris. One of our reporters are currently out in Paris to see the milestone for America.
Hello, my name is Jean-Pierre and I'm currently out in Paris witnessing the signing of the treaty. Behind me is the signing signifies America's status as a free nation independent from the 13 British-controlled colonies. A great achievement for America. My name is Jean-Pierre and back to you, Olivia.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre. And now we will pass it on to Brian's top 5 picks.
Welcome to Brian Garcia's 5 top picks for famous people in U.S. history. For my number 5, we start off with famous Paul Revere. He was an honored patriot and he warned the people that the British were coming, and that's why he takes number 5 on my list. King George III takes 4th place on our list because he was the ruler of Great Britain and he was one of the main enemies during the American Revolution. He got into conflict with different countries such as France and Spain, and that's why he takes number 4 on our list. Marquis de Lafayette takes 3rd place because he was a Frenchman who assisted America. He was the French aristocrat and a military officer who assisted the colonies by giving them support and resources from France. He was a great man, and that's why he takes number 3. Coming in number 2 is Alexander Hamilton. He was an immigrant and an orphan, but he helped reform America into what it is today. He was a founding father, and he supported the Constitution and even wrote the Federalist Papers. And that's why Hamilton takes our 2nd place. Before we get to number 1 on our list, we have some honorable mentions. John Adams. He helped write the Declaration of Independence. James Madison. He assisted in writing the Federalist Papers. Here comes the general in 1st place, George Washington. He was the first president of the United States and he helped lead the colonies into the correct place for independence and a new founded country with good rights. There is no one better than George Washington, and that's why he takes number 1. Thanks for watching Brian's top 5 picks. Now back to your news.
The American Revolution was one of America's greatest successes.
Our founders sacrificed their lives to fight for the justice and freedom that we deserved.
Without their dedication and generosity, we would not be where we are today.
Well, that's all, folks, for this year's highlights. My name is Brian Garcia.
And my name is Olivia Nguyen.
This is ANN News, signing off.
Yes!
Can we